There's a fact about discipline that most people really don't want to hear. A study from the University of Scranton found that 92% of people who set goals to change themselves ultimately fail. Not 50%, not 70%, 92%. And here's what makes that number worse. They didn't fail because they were lazy. They failed because they were using the wrong system. While the rest of the world keeps asking, how do I get more motivated? Japan has been answering a completely different question for centuries. How do you build a system that doesn't need motivation at all? Their answer is called Kaizen. Kai means change. Zen means good, not 100% better tomorrow, just 1% better every single day, without stopping. This is the philosophy that rebuilt an entire country from the ashes of war. The principle Toyota used to become one of the most efficient companies on Earth, and the same idea that would quietly change everything for Lucas, a 22-year-old college student, in the most unexpected way. But before we get there, if you've ever tried to change your life and watched it fall apart within 2 weeks, drop a comment below, because this video was made for exactly that moment. Chapter 1. The Guy Who Wanted More. Lucas grew up in a small Midwestern town. His dad was an electrician. His mom kept the books at a local grocery store. Stable, decent, unremarkable. But Lucas always felt like he belonged somewhere else. Not arrogance, just a quiet voice that kept telling him, "You're capable of more than this." In high school, he tried, went out for the soccer team, cut first round, ran for student council, lost. Finally worked up the nerve to talk to the girl he'd liked for 2 years, turned down over text. Each rejection was small on its own. Together they built a story. Maybe I'm just not the kind of person who succeeds. When he got into college for graphic design, he decided enough. He was going to change completely. And that's exactly when he made the mistake almost everyone makes. He built a perfect plan. 5 a.m. wake up. Gym before class, 3 hours of studying every night. Reading before bed, no social media after 10, no fast food. He even built a full tracking board on Notion, color-coded checkboxes, weekly charts, machine logic applied to a human problem. Week 1, woke up on time 4 days straight, ate clean, hit his hours, felt invincible. Week 2, stayed up until 2 a.m. Wednesday, finishing a project. The 5 a.m. alarm fired. His hand turned it off before his brain noticed. He got up at 7:30, skipped the gym, grabbed fast food. It's fine. I'll make it up on the weekend. The weekend came. A friend invited him out, just for an hour. He stayed the whole evening. No studying, no gym, no reading. Sunday night, he opened Notion, looked at the unchecked boxes, and his brain did what brains do after repeated failure. It looked for an explanation. Maybe I don't have the discipline gene. Maybe my brain doesn't work that way. And so Lucas began building a false identity, the identity of someone who gives up. The dangerous thing about false identities, the more you repeat them, the more real they become. Chapter 2. The Unexpected Meeting. 3 months into that try, fail loop, Lucas sat in the university library at 10 a.m., staring at his laptop. Unable to type a single word of the assignment due that afternoon. He sat like that for 15 minutes, then closed the laptop and left. Walking out, he nearly ran into Professor Mei Ling Huang, creative psychology last semester, around 50, short haircut, round-framed glasses. Something about the way she stood made it feel like she was never in a hurry for anything. "Lucas, you were in my class." She looked at him, not a judgmental look, the kind that actually sees. "Are you doing okay?" He was about to say yes, but something else came out. "Honestly, no. I keep trying to get my life together, and I keep failing. Every week I start over, and every week it falls apart. Do you have 20 minutes? They sat outside on a bench near the maple trees. She had coffee. Lucas had nothing, hadn't brought his wallet. He laid everything out, the Notion board, the goals, the collapse. She listened without interrupting. When he finished, she asked something unexpected. "Do you know how a marathon runner trains? Not what they do, but where they start. Before someone runs 26 miles, she said, they start by running 1. Not 10, 1, for days, sometimes weeks. The body adapts. then almost invisibly, 1.5 miles to 5. One day they run a marathon, not because they decided to, because they built a system that made it possible. But that's physical, Lucas said. I'm trying to change mental habits. Same principle. Do you know what the word Kaizen actually means? Chapter 3. The Philosophy That Rebuilt a Country. After World War II, she began, Japan was devastated. Cities gone, economy gone, infrastructure gone. They had to rebuild an entire country from nothing. 2 options. Do everything at once. Massive factories, retrain the entire workforce, 0 to 100 in one giant push. Or find one small problem, improve it by 1%, move to the next. Repeat, steadily, without stopping. They chose option 2. They called it Kaizen. In less than 40 years, Japan went from shattered to the second largest economy in the world. Toyota applied this to every tiny detail in its production line, not chasing perfection, but removing friction piece by piece. Those small improvements compounded into something extraordinary. She pulled a scrap of paper from her pocket and wrote a number. If you improve 1% every day for 365 days, you don't improve 365%, you improve 3,778%. 3,778%. Exponential math. It doesn't look like magic until you look back and don't recognize who you used to be. She looked at him directly. Your problem isn't a lack of discipline. Your problem is that you're trying to climb the mountain from the top. 0 to 100 in a week. And when you fail, because anyone would fail in that system, you turn it into proof of your own personal weakness. So what do? Meet me here next week and bring one thing, the smallest change you think you can sustain for 7 days in a row. Ridiculously small, nothing impressive. That week, Lucas kept slowing the question down. Gym, too big. Sleep earlier, also too big. Read every day, already failed at that. Slower, until it became something almost embarrassing. Every morning before touching my phone, sit still for 2 minutes. When he brought that back, he expected her to say it was too small. She smiled. Perfect. Is that seriously it? Just sitting, 2 minutes. Good. For 1 week, don't add anything. No meditation, no exercise, just sit. But that won't change anything. It will change one thing, the only thing that matters right now. It will prove to you that you can keep a promise to yourself. Chapter 4. What your brain is actually doing. Day 1. Sat on the edge of the bed for 2 minutes before picking up his phone. Almost stupidly easy. Days 2, 3, 4, same thing. Day 5. While sitting in silence, a thought arrived on its own. I don't need to check Instagram right now. I can wait. He stayed for another 7 minutes, not doing anything, just existing. On day 7, he went back. I did all 7 days. How was it? Embarrassingly easy. Nothing changed, but I did it. So you're no longer at 0 days in a row. You're at 7, and you know what 7 days means? It means you just proved you can keep a promise. Before, you couldn't. Now you can. That's a real change, not in your body, in your identity. If you've ever broken a promise to yourself and couldn't figure out why, drop a 2 in the comments, because this is where it all starts to make sense. Professor Huang explained what was actually happening underneath. The prefrontal cortex, self-control, decision-making, planning, burns through energy fast. Every forced decision drains it. Build a system with 12 simultaneous changes, and it's running at max capacity from the moment you wake up. By midday, it's gone. That's not weakness. That's biology. But the basal ganglia, the brain's oldest region built for automatic behavior, works differently. Repeat a behavior enough times and it migrates there. No energy required, no decision made. It just happens. That's Kaizen. Changes so small the prefrontal cortex barely registers them. No alarm triggered, no resistance fired. Weeks later, the behavior has migrated. You have a habit. Then you add the next layer. The following week, Professor Huang added 1 layer. Before opening his laptop, Lucas would write 3 words in a notebook. Just 3 words describing how he felt. Anxious. Focused. Restless. Anything. This seems pointless, Lucas said. You said that about the 2 minutes. 1 week later, something strange happened. The 3 words started revealing patterns. Days he wrote foggy or scattered, he procrastinated the most. Days he wrote curious or light, he worked better. He texted her one morning, "I just realized, days I scroll for half an hour before doing anything. The words are always heavy, unmotivated, distracted. Days I sit first, they're lighter, more present." She didn't say, "Told you so." She just asked, "What do you want to do with that?" "I want to try going without my phone for the first hour after I wake up." For 2 weeks, she raised an eyebrow. "You arrived at that conclusion yourself, from data you collected yourself. That is pure Kaizen, not a rule imposed from outside. An improvement you identified, understood, and chose. Discipline imposed from the outside breaks. Discipline that grows from the inside builds." Chapter 5. The Identity Shift. 2 months in, Lucas had 4 small habits. Sit for 2 minutes. Write 3 words. 1 phone-free hour. Clear the desk before studying. Together, less than 15 minutes a day. But something else was changing, invisible in the actions, happening inside the story he told about himself. Before, college is okay. Could be better. I'm kind of a mess. That was his identity. 2 months later, pretty good. I'm building some routines. Building, not trying to get organized. Not hoping to be better. Building, the word of someone in the middle of construction. James Clear distinguishes 3 types of change, Professor Huang said. Outcome, process, and identity. Most people aim at outcomes. Lose 15 pounds, get an A. The deepest level is identity. Not I want to exercise, but I am someone who moves every day. When identity shifts, behavior follows naturally. You're not doing something hard, you're just being yourself. In month 4, a brutal midterm week wrecked his schedule. On the hardest day, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., he forgot every routine. Nothing. The next morning, that familiar feeling came back. The streak's broken. What's the point? He stared at the ceiling for 10 minutes. Then he sat up. 2 minutes. Opened the notebook. Wrote 3 words. Relieved. Present. Starting over. He hadn't quit. He'd stumbled. And now he understood the difference. He texted Professor Huang. She replied, "This is exactly wabi-sabi." He looked it up. Wabi-sabi, the Japanese philosophy that finds beauty inside imperfection. That nothing is permanent. Nothing is perfect. And real consistency doesn't mean doing it every day without exception. It means always coming back, without drama, without self-punishment, without an identity crisis. Lucas saved that message. Chapter 6. When it becomes automatic, month 5. A road trip with friends. 3 days. No plan. He went. Slept badly. Ate whatever. Stayed up all night once. When he got back, he braced for the familiar spiral. Instead, first morning home, he woke up and automatically sat still on the edge of the bed for 2 minutes. No thinking, no decision. It just happened. For the first time in my life, a healthy behavior ran on autopilot. No willpower, no motivation required. It had migrated to the basal ganglia. When he told Professor Huang, she said, "You just crossed a line most people never cross. You stopped trying to be disciplined. You started being disciplined. It's no longer a goal. It's who you are." Chapter 7. What the Research Confirms. A behavioral researcher from Duke University found that roughly 43% of daily human behavior isn't a conscious decision. It's automatic, triggered by environment and neural patterns. Nearly half of what you do today, you didn't actually choose. It just happened. The conclusion, changing motivation is the least effective strategy for long-term behavior change. Redesigning your environment and building automatic habits is what actually works. The brain resists sudden change because it reads it as a threat, but incremental changes below a certain perceptual threshold slip right past that alarm. Real discipline isn't forcing hard things. It's building systems where the right thing is simply easier than the alternative. Chapter 8. The Hidden Fuel. Near the end of year 1, Professor Huang asked him something direct. "Lucas, why do you actually want to be disciplined?" He gave the obvious answer. Better grades, better career. Feel better about himself. Deeper. Why do those things matter? He went quiet for a long time. Then he talked about his dad, over 25 years as an electrician in a job he never chose, always tired, always boxed in. Lucas said he'd always been terrified of hitting 45 and realizing he'd lived the life that happened to him, not the one he designed. I'm not chasing discipline because I want to be productive. I'm chasing freedom, the freedom to design my life instead of just reacting to it. She nodded. The Japanese call this Ikigai, your reason for being, the purpose beyond the immediate goal. You don't want better grades. You want freedom. Discipline isn't the destination. It's the path to what actually matters. And when you connect your habits to your Ikigai, motivation changes its nature. Before, I have to do this because it's good for me. Extrinsic. After, I do this because it's who I am and it leads me where I need to go. Intrinsic. Extrinsic motivation runs dry. Intrinsic motivation doesn't. Chapter 9. The Proof. 2 years after that bench outside the library, Lucas was in his final year, interning at a design studio in the city. In a team meeting, the studio manager Priya asked each intern to present a personal project they'd been building. Lucas presented a digital illustration series built over 8 months. Not revolutionary, but complete. Coherent. Constructed 1 illustration a day across 8 months of consistent daily work. After the meeting, Priya pulled him aside. You built this yourself in 8 months while you were still in school? Yeah. Most interns show me ideas. You showed me something real. How did you do it? Lucas thought for a second. 1 day at a time. There was no secret, no hack, no revolutionary technique, just a simple system built on a simple principle, Kaizen. 1% better every day, and after 8 months, something real existed where before there had only been an idea. What you just learned. How many times have you tried to change and failed? Not because you didn't want it, not because you were weak, because the system was wrong from the start, 0 to 100 in a week. Impossible habits, perfection demanded from a brain that doesn't work that way. And when you failed, you made it mean something about you. That stops here. Kaizen, 1% better today, not 100% better tomorrow. Microscopic changes bypass the brain's resistance. They compound. 1% daily for a year equals 3,778% improvement. Neuroscience. Willpower is a limited resource. It runs out, but repeated behaviors migrate to the basal ganglia and become automatic. No decision needed. They just happen. James Clear. Lasting change starts with identity, not outcomes. You don't try to exercise. You are someone who moves every day. That difference is everything. Wabi-sabi. Imperfection isn't the end of the journey. It's part of it. Consistency isn't doing it perfectly. It's always coming back. Ikigai. Discipline without purpose is suffering. Connect your habits to what truly matters, and motivation stops being something you manufacture. It's already there because the reason is already there. Your challenge. I'm not asking you to transform your life this week. One thing, the smallest change you can sustain for 7 days in a row. 2 minutes of silence. A glass of water when you wake up. 1 page of a book. Whatever. As long as it's real and it's repeatable. 7 days. Nothing added. Nothing accelerated. When you reach day 7, you won't have changed your life. But you'll have proven something more important. You can keep a promise to yourself. And that proof is the most important brick in any foundation. Time passes either way. A year from now, 365 days of 1%. Or 365 days of 0. The choice isn't in the week you'll finally overhaul everything. It's in the next second. In that small thing you already know you can do. Lucas didn't wake up different one day. He woke up the same every single day and did one small thing. And one day, he looked back and didn't recognize who he'd been. You can do the same. Drop your one small change in the comments. Make it visible. Make it real. Subscribe if this found you at the right moment and share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one. Stay present. Walk your path.